Hey, coming up right now, Americans take it off for an 11-day naked cruise, but not everything goes.
Also coming up, a flight attendant is forced to step in like a referee at a boxing match to prevent a midair meltdown.
A little bit later on, it's the real reason why Kid Rock stormed off the stage in Nashville at a bar there owned by John Bon Jovi.
Daily Flash starts right now.
Get ready for trending news and entertainment. This is Daily Flash with your hosts, Andrea Jackson and Mitch English. The fun starts right now. This is Daily Flash.
I'm Andrea Jackson.
And I am Mitch English. Welcome to the Daily Flash, a show for everybody. You got preteens, we're for you, the teens, you got adults, senior citizens, and 350-year-old Social Security
How
benefit
about
payouts.
that? That's an amazing
This show is for
thing.
all of us.
All of us. Ages 1 to 350.
Ages 1 to 3. If you're a 350-year-old Social Security recipient, we welcome you to the show.
We'd like you to Zoom with us.
And we also have rat-a-tat-tat, everybody. It's Matt!
I just want to give props to the USA men's hockey team for
Why
the way
so?
they started the game against Canada by just beating them up right off the bat.
I didn't see that.
In the first 90 seconds, there were 3 fights. It was great.
Well, it started with them booing the national anthem.
They booed the national anthem.
Canadians booing the national anthem. And then it was fisticuffs, and then they blew Canada out of the water.
We don't play this way.
I think, and you look about the U.S. men's hockey team, they represent America so much because you remember back in, well, you probably don't remember, you weren't born yet, probably, but 1980, the big Miracle on Ice.
Yes.
And I don't know if you guys ever if I told you this, but I went to the 2002 Olympics, and literally not even 4 or 5 rows behind me was the entire men's Olympic team, right? And I was like, oh, there's the guys there. And then all of a sudden, it's getting closer to the opening ceremonies, and I look back and they're all gone. And I go, I bet you they're going to light the torch. And sure as heck they did.
Oh, my God.
That was a great moment in history, wasn't it? You remember that?
It was. I mean, and it's patriotic, and I think it was one of those moments that brought everybody together.
My 350-year-old great-great-grandmother who received Social Security said that was
Really? Was she married to Thomas Jefferson?
She was,
Amazing.
believe it or not.
She
Everybody's saying,
stories.
where is Sweet Baby? We got Sweet Baby running the camera. How are you, Sweet Baby James?
You know what? They tell me I'm
Wait,
like a
take a
Jamaican.
step in.
I got
You're out
like
of the
12
shot.
jobs, man.
Come in just a little bit. So,
No, other way.
Other way.
Other way.
Like 12 jobs. Can you see me now?
There you
Now
go.
we
Keep
can
going.
laugh.
I
keep
do
going.
everything. Look,
Keep
I
going.
do everything at the show. Everything.
We love Sweet Baby.
We do.
Speaking of hockey for just a second, I got to expand on that a little
Please
bit.
do.
Think about the talent and the skill it takes to play hockey, right? You're skating on ice, you're skating forwards and backwards, you got a stick, you got a puck, you got 2 small nets you got to hit the thing into. These guys hit the ice, and it is unbelievable, yet they're the lowest paid in the professional sports industry compared to basketball players and NFL players, NBA players, and MLB players. Think about it.
I never realized that. You're right.
They got to do everything that everybody else does, but they got to do it on ice and skate backwards.
And they have to learn how to fight too.
Yes, and they're missing teeth.
And by the way, if you've never been to a real hockey game,
it's so much fun.
It's 10 times better than watching it on television.
Yeah.
There. And wouldn't you expect? It's like we want fights at our hockey games,
We love a
but
good
not
fight.
against like a USA versus Canada.
We like a good car wreck.
Yeah.
At the Daytona 500.
They caught the ref even going, hey, that started out pretty rough there, guys. Huh? And he's like, you like that, didn't you? He goes, that was entertaining.
The penalty box. It's the best.
Yeah.
We should have those in real life, too, for certain people we don't like.
I agree with you.
I got to mention this real quickly. James, he's in the penalty box today. From Stranger Things to Stranger Wings, Netflix has opened up a wings restaurant at the
cool.
MGM Grand Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas. It's called Netflix Bites. It's a new way to experience your fan favorite shows. And with Stranger Things finally coming back for its 5th and final last episodes, they're trying to celebrate Stranger Things and Stranger Wings.
And now the waiters and waitresses are of age because they grew up. Will they have like food curated to like the show? Or like...
It's a new way to experience a fan favorite movie or show. When our fans find a show they like, they don't just want to love it, they want to live it. There's no city in the world that knows best how to immerse fans in the over-the-top worlds like Las Vegas.
I don't know if I'd go to the Santa Clarita Diet, or Santa Clarita, whatever that show was with Drew Barrymore, where they ate humans. Keep that in mind.
Yeah, not sure that's on the menu.
Love Boat. It is a butt load.
Oh my.
of Americans that have set sail from Miami to an 11-day nude cruise.
Oh.
Not everything goes on this naked adventure. Passengers have to follow very strict rules on board. They have to stay out of the poop deck.
Oh,
That's one, like being required to wear clothing. You have to wear clothes when you're in the dining rooms. However, there is a large buffet for nude outdoor dining.
Look at that crowd.
Naked passengers required to put on a towel before sitting on chairs in public
Oh.
spaces, including the pool deck and the buffet areas. Fondling, inappropriate touching. Nope, can't do that.
No touchy.
Here's the thing: it costs about $2,000 to go on the nude cruise, and it goes up to $33,000 for a deluxe 3-bedroom villa. The company is called Bare Necessities. Has charted more than 75 nude cruises in the past. And that shot right there, can we pop it up real quick, Zach? Doesn't that look like Barack Obama?
Yeah.
I thought, when I came in, I saw that and go, Barack Obama's
He's
getting
enjoying retirement.
I'm not sure if that
Well-
is Michelle laying
Well,
down.
there are rumors that Barack and Michelle are going their separate ways.
Remember Jennifer
Yes.
Aniston that was thrown in that mix, which
Yes.
is not. We're just perpetrating
Yeah.
all that. Hey, look, here's the thing. If you go to a place where you know everybody else on the, there's not like you and me, like, oh, I accidentally got booked on this new cruise.
Yeah.
It's only for them. Okay,
Right.
It's not like you're gonna. So if you go on this cruise, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Count how many cheeks are there,
I
real
can't,
quick.
I can't
James.
imagine
Look at those
being. I don't care for crowds to begin with, and then a crowded boat full of naked people. It would be my worst nightmare.
I think, but it would probably get to a point where you're like, whatever. I mean,
Yeah,
you say
I
no more.
guess.
Because here's the thing, you know the rule about nude people.
Right.
It's never the people you want to see
Thank
naked.
you, absolutely.
That's what the
Well,
whole
okay.
boat is going to be.
Yeah.
There has to be an age limit.
No,
really?
90.
Oh no, then I'm not going.
Okay.
It's like
They're
spandex.
getting caught under the wheels
like you
and
say,
Spandex.
It's a privilege, not a right.
Not a right. Now-
but nudity, these folks think it's a right, and it is.
As
I
you
guess.
get older,
Yeah.
you don't care
You don't
anymore.
care as
That's the
much.
problem,
That is
James.
true.
Also, too, a buffet at a new thing. You know what I say to that?
Oh,
Dogs everywhere.
imagine.
Dogs and
I got something in my teeth. I'm not sure where.
That's not right.
Whose is this? Whose is this?
I did learn something
Tell.
from the New York Post, which, of course, I love. There is a symbol on cruise ships that if you like to swing, you look
Okay.
for the pineapples or
Oh,
the upside down pineapple.
Yeah, huh?
Jackson,
you
are
know
you
that?
just learning?
I'm just learning that. I'm just learning it.
I know.
I'm just
I
learning
just want to
this.
hug you right now. No, it is, yeah. And like
Pineapple.
over in the villages, that's where
And the loofahs.
yeah, it's got to be upside down, I think.
Yeah.
Is it the upside down
Yeah.
pineapple?
That's how you tell. Because
That's the
A
signal.
neighbor of mine has a license plate and it has 2 pineapples on it, and I was like, "Oh wow, are you?" But they're upright,
Okay.
so maybe that means.
wait, the pineapples are. Get out of this quickly.
A flight attendant for Alaska Airlines was forced to protect a passenger from a mid-air meltdown. The disturbing video shows a male flight attendant trying to protect a female passenger after a man suddenly grabbed her hair.
Wow.
The flight attendant starts punching the man in the throat and torso until he finally lets go of the woman. One of the passengers on board told police the man was saying weird stuff, rocking back and forth before the plane started to taxi down the runway. The plane was forced to return to the gate where authorities took the passenger into custody.
You know, and it's flight attendants. They used to be called
God bless
stewardesses
them.
and stewards, and they're everybody thinks, oh, they're waitresses of the sky,
Yes.
and that's not the case at all. They have to deal with this kind of stuff, and
They're
this is
like bodyguards, basically, or bouncers.
really, yeah, and this is a guy doing it, obviously, that probably they've said called for him to do it. But I'm not saying what other side that a woman couldn't do this, but this is it looked like a bigger guy that
Yeah.
he had to control. And then you're also stuck up in the air. What are you going to do? And if I'm watching this, I'm thinking, what the heck's happening? Now,
Right.
I think this person obviously had some kind of mental condition whatsoever.
Yeah.
And this is also a line of other stories that we keep on hearing. A guy attacks a chair for no reason.
Yeah.
And they're like, what do you do?
Do you want to fly? Like, I don't even want to fly anymore. When I see these stories, I'm like, I don't want to be trapped inside of a plane with this kind of behavior going on. Because it seems like people are completely out of control.
They forget, and then the cameras are everywhere.
Everywhere.
I just had to fly cross country twice last month,
Yeah.
and like you're definitely on their eyeballing people as they're getting on. Of like, you look like you're about to start
I
something.
agree. And those are the good airlines that you're flying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know?
Delta, but it's 5 hours both ways. So
You know, you think about that too. And so what do we do about this? You know, some people will say, they'll look at this and they'll go, all right, we need a mental, you need to start having a mental evaluation
You
before
can't do
You
that,
cannot do that. You know, there's no way,
way.
that you can actually regulate this.
But what you can do is raise the price of tickets, because if you've got to pay $500-600 to fly, you might think twice
Yeah.
about it. A lot of times, I think some of this stuff is happening on the less expensive airlines.
And that's what I was
Yeah.
saying. Too. And to this day, why don't they have a kids section on airplanes?
They
Please
should.
tell me. There's nothing against kids.
100%.
Hell, they can run around.
The
swing.
wor-
I don't
and
care
the-
what
and-
they do back
and
there.
Being where we are in Orlando, the worst flight to and from you're ever gonna take is in or out of Orlando.
Yeah.
And-
The security lines, nuts.
And luggage, you better get on and get up in the overhead. I tell you what, we will take off and come back with a quick stop right after. Hey, welcome back to Daily Flash. I'm Mitch English. Y'all, it is time to say what you mean, even if it includes them fighting words.
Through this journey, I had an opportunity to go to the Dominican Republic and meet my father for the first time. We sat in a restaurant. Every time a woman walked in, he'd be like, "That's your sister." He was so generous, he gave us each our own mothers. He was like, "Oh, but you got a mother."
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for comedian, writer, actress, and podcaster, AIda Rodriguez. Hi there. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning. How are you?
We are fantastic. Look, we just saw a clip of your special. It's on Max. And really, I encourage everyone to go out and check it out. You also have a podcast. It's called Say What You Mean and Why You Did It, which is, I love you just get right to it. And then I was reading more and more about your childhood and how much of things that are just uncommon, I guess is the best way to say, and to where you would think, how did you make it this far? Tell us more about what this new Max special is all about for those who haven't seen it.
You know what? I wanted to show people how a lot of comedians mind their comedy, how our life experiences become the jokes.
Okay.
People always ask us, is this true? And I'm like, absolutely, 100% this stuff happened.
You know, one thing I just boggles my mind, you were kidnapped twice, right, as a child? Am I right or wrong on that?
I was taken from the Dominican Republic from my father, and then my grandmother took me from my mother. Yes. So
Wow.
both times from my family.
And I would imagine going back and look, there's only one way to go with that, and that is humor. And that's probably, I'm sure, where it comes with a lot of how can I be in the world and just kind of tell my story. Is that what folks are getting from not only your podcast, but also, as I mentioned, what we can find on your special?
Yeah, absolutely. Normalizing life experiences, even though a lot of those things feel uncommon. I can't tell you how many emails and DMs I've gotten from people who share the same experience but have too much shame to actually talk about it.
And it's people like you that do come out and talk about it, and not only that, can probably laugh about it as well. That helps people that need to go through that. Tell us a little bit more. I want to go into about your podcast, who you have on it, and maybe who would be a dream guest for you to have on that podcast.
You know, I guess I don't know what my dream guest is. I've had so many amazing people on that show, from cast members from the show Suits to people that are like very popular comedians. Tiffany Haddish has done it. April Jones has done it. Like, quite a few people have stopped by to do it. But I just enjoy listening to people really share those moments where they wish they would have spoken up and they didn't. And they range from funny to sad to angry. And they're all really, really interesting. So if I had to pick one person and I could go back in time, I would love to hear what Muhammad Ali would say, because it felt like he said so much.
No, 100%, and he did things for a purpose, and we learned out afterwards and such. And what an incredible life as well. You had mentioned Tiffany Haddish. You two are good friends. Anytime we're going to see you guys maybe working together outside of your podcast?
Well, she produced a special that I have that's called They Ready. That's on Netflix, and you can watch it now. There are 6 of us. She produced 6 half-hour specials. Mine is episode 3 in season 1. And I have so much to be grateful for because of that special. So many great things have happened to me since. So we've actually already worked together. They Ready is streaming right now on Netflix.
I would imagine 2 funny women like y'all together would be great to see on screen too. And I'm sure we get some laughs out of that podcast as well. To dive a little bit more into your life, you have written a book. It's called Legitimate Kid. And you kind of share more of a personal side of your life. What really inspired you to really get this out and write the book?
I think so many people struggle with legitimacy in the world. And I just think that there's so many divisive tools that we see right now, separating people on why we're different. I wanted to share my experiences that anyone can connect to, how we're always trying to seek validation and legitimacy, and we have to find it from within.
What does it mean to be to legitimize yourself? Is that just something that you have to do for yourself, or you're proving it to other people?
I did it for myself. For so many people, for so long, I tried to do it for other people, and that didn't work because, you know, especially now, even though we think we're getting validation through social media, people are just scrolling along. You just have to do it for yourself.
Absolutely. And you started off when you wrote this book, you wanted this to be different from your stand-up. Tell us which ways they are, and are we learning more? Are we got some good stories that we can find some good morals in as well?
Absolutely. This is a story of triumph. It's a story about my life, how I started, the things that happened, and how I happened to those things so that I can persevere and pursue my dreams. I didn't want to just give people trauma, and I didn't want to, like, you know, trivialize trauma, but I also wanted to let people know that if you stand on, you know, if you really stand on what you believe in, go get what you want, because, you know, this life is long, but it's also short, and you are worthy of the things that you want in life.
Indeed, and I appreciate the fact that you can look back and laugh at it, because that adds so much more, not only by telling the story, but for you as well, because it's not, you know, it's part of what you are. It's not defining who you are, but I would imagine you had to go through that. Along with that, on the other side, as far as presenting and being on stage and stuff, how did you actually deal with the pressure of always being on?
You know, I struggle with that because I'm not on all the time. And people, when they meet me, you know, they like ask me for a joke. And I'm like, do you walk up to a dentist and open your mouth? No, like, you gotta come see me live. You know, I think once I leaned into being my most authentic self, just really embracing who I am and what kind of comedian I am, I think it works out for me. But yeah, there's always pressure to be funny. But, you know, my heroes are Carlin and Pryor. And so when I think about the stories and the way that they gave it to the world, it always makes me feel like I'm okay.
Absolutely. You're talking about two comedians there that were not afraid to speak their mind, and you could always appreciate that. We appreciate you speaking yours. And of course, you could check out, of course, AIda Rodriguez. You can head over to funnyaida.com. We'll have links on our website as well. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We got more Flash. Matt Doolittle's doing it when we return.
Hey, welcome to this week's Doing It with me, Matt Doolittle. Now, we're taking a closer look at the mob this week. Now, they seem to be struggling with the same hiring problems as the rest of the non-Gambino world out there. It's as if future generation of mobsters are turning into a bunch of Fredos.
I can handle things. I'm smart. Not like everybody says. Like dumb. I'm smart, and I want to.
Yes, a bunch of little whiny babies. Nearly 150 alleged, we gotta say alleged in there, members of the infamous Cosa Nostra family were nabbed during an early morning raid in Italy. Now, it's not the raid we're doing it with this week. It's what they were complaining about on the wiretaps. It's the one thing every gangster should know.
I pinched. Everybody gets pinched, but you did it right. You told them nothing, and they got nothing. I thought you'd be mad. Man, I'm not mad. I'm proud of you. You took your first pinch like a man, and you learned the two greatest things in life. What? Look at me. Never rat on your friends, and always keep your mouth.
Now, that's the number one thing. You gotta learn to keep your mouth shut. These modern day mobsters were caught on wiretaps complaining that today's recruits were just not measuring up. One Don seemed to suggest that their loyalty just wasn't what it used to be, and new recruits are turning into state witnesses faster than you can say forget about it. And the names they were using, as millennial as they can get, they were using Spider-Man, Robert De Niro, you can't put Bobby's name out there, and nephew from The Bear. Really, we're gonna use FX shows. But despite encrypted phones and secret meetings and all that, the family business seems to be on a little bit of a shaky ground there. Some of the new younger Dons were so unaware of how surveillance works that they were bragging about how good their anti-bugging devices were while they were being bugged. Look, I'm all for the end of the mob, organized crime, and you know, all that fun stuff. But it's sad to see the downfall of a lifestyle that's given us so many great movies, food, family dinners. My advice, having never been a part of a mob business or anything like that, New dons need to keep quiet. Always check behind the toilet in an Italian restaurant. And remember, leave the gun, take the cannolis. Also, make sure you got your shovel buddies around too, because you got to get rid of that thing with the guy in the place. All right? All right, you hear me? Keep your mouth shut.
All right, Maddie. Very good. Let's jump in what's trending here. All right, AC/DC, we know the band, right? Well, now fans are actually really discovering that it was a sewing machine that gave the inspiration to the band's name. Now, the group's catchy tunes like Highway to Hell and You Shook Me All Night Long and Thunderstruck all played on airwaves all across the globe. It motivated one Reddit user to ask about how the rock group actually got its name. Well, founding members Angus Young and his brother Malcolm were actually brainstorming ideas when their sister-in-law just suggested the name AC/DC. It was displayed on the sewing machine's adapter, the plug-in. She also suggested that they use a lightning bolt in their logo. AC/DC is supposed to be pronounced one letter at a time, but reportedly people in Australia kept on calling it Akadaka. No. The Rockers are actually gearing up for their 2025 World Tour starting this spring in Minneapolis. And this is a band that has just held through the times no matter what. And a lot of times people were thinking that the name came from some kind of satanic meaning behind it. But when it comes down to a sewing machine, it's actually a little bit more lame.
But if you look at any standard plug, it'll say AC/DC on it. So how did they,
I guess they were like, why did they wind up choosing that?
Yeah.
And it was also during that time back in the 80s where it was devil's music.
Oh yeah, when the symbol was on the Procter & Gamble toothpaste with the
That's
sun
another
and the
one of those
star,
things,
or the moon
right?
And the stars, yeah. After more than 20 years of construction, Jackie Siegel's jaw-dropping 90,000 square foot Florida estate dubbed Versailles is finally approaching the finish line. The 59-year-old Queen of Versailles star shared a video update showing off the latest progress on the sprawling mega mansion, which has been plagued by delays for decades. The space remains a construction zone despite a chandelier and an opulent backdrop. The extravagant estate has 14 bedrooms, 30 bathrooms, 5 kitchens, a 150-person dining hall, a British-style pub, and a 35-car garage. There is no official completion date on the calendar. If Versailles ever gets finished, it will stand as the largest single-family home in the U.S. The current market value stands at around $100 million.
We see her around town here in Orlando all the time, and you should see this home. I mean, and in the neighborhood also is just magnificent over there. But this place is just amazing. I've never got to go in it or look at it, but I've seen.
Did you see the documentary?
Yes, Queen of
Versailles.
Right, and I think it's one of these where the money just keeps coming in, and the husband's kind of like, I do whatever you want, you know, and just kind of let her continue to build.
David Siegel, very nice man. He made a fortune off of the timeshares.
Okay.
Business. So I think that's where they, were able to amass a fortune. And this is her pet project, and she's been working on it for decades. But I'm thinking to myself, once you get done with this house, how can you even afford to host 150 people at a banquet?
100%, right? You'd have to rent it out. Yes. Isn't it ironic, too, that they're building a home to stay all the time off of money that's only, you're supposed to be there for a short amount of time?
Yeah.
Think about that. We got today's trends, tomorrow's talk, and a whole lot of fun. Still, right here on Daily Flash. Don't go anywhere.
This is Daily Flash with your hosts, Andrea Jackson and Mitch English. Trending news and entertainment. This is Daily Flash.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Daily Flash. I'm Andrea Jackson.
I am Mitch English. We are so glad to have you here. You look absolutely fantastic. We are
even at age 350.
Age 350. This whole Social Security thing is
outrageous.
And what they're going to find and discover is going to be even more. That's
worse.
what we know so far, right? All right, we try to stay away from politics because we want you to just have a great day.
But we're having fun with the fact that they've found that they're sending a check to a 350-year-old with Social Security.
No matter what side of political fence you're on, that's ridiculous.
You've got to raise an eyebrow or two about that.
And the voting record of these 350-year-olds are kind of one to do.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
All right, so sometimes we go, you know what? I'm tired of these criminals getting away with stuff. There is a judge in, I believe, Missouri, and he's actually come up with a great way to stop shoplifters at Walmarts there.
At the Walmarts.
So you get busted for stealing.
Okay.
Okay, let's say you're shoplifting. They bust you, take you in. He orders you have to go back on every Saturday for X amount of time and wash cars for free.
basically where you would, so if you stole, they go, all right, your sentence is you got to go back to Walmart in the parking lot and wash cars. So now, if people are washing cars, you know that they were shoplifters, number one. And Walmart says, you know what? We'll even provide the water and the soap and the buckets and everything. And they're actually saying it's pretty effective.
Really?
Because if you saw me out at Walmart washing cars,
you're like, what are you
Mitch,
doing?
you get busted.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you're not like sitting in front of Home Depot waiting for work. You obviously, and you know what? I think that's the kind of stuff that they need to do.
Yeah.
To curb that sort of thing, because a lot of them, they're like, well, so what? I'll get a record, but at least I got this, whatever I stole. So
Well,
I like that idea.
there's got to be some sort of punishment and some sort of incentive for people when it comes to apologizing for their crimes, right?
Taking responsibility,
Yeah, taking
too,
responsibility. So I think that this is definitely one example. I mean, I don't know what else you could do. Put them as a greeter at the Walmart with a sign that said, I got busted shoplifting. It's it's something to shame them for what they've done, so people recognize, hey, you shouldn't be doing that.
And they're also, listen, they're working. They're not like sitting in a jail.
That is true.
We have to feed them and that sort of thing. And a lot of times, you make mistakes, and I understand that. And going to jail could make you a harder person.
That is true.
So I agree with it. I think more judges need to be doing things.
I think consequences and common sense definitely is something we
The way
should
they're really
see
shaming
go
a lot of them now is like there's YouTube pages devoted to taking the cams off of the cops and whatever and putting them online. So you can see the shoplifters from Walmart, Target, everything on YouTube. I'll go down a YouTube hole all night sometimes.
And isn't there's sheriffs? I think you and I were talking about this. There's a sheriff that will go on and he'll say, all right, here's who we busted this week.
There's two specifically in Florida. Grady Judd, who's
That's the guy.
fantastic, and then we've got Wayne Ivey over in Brevard County. Grady Judd in Polk County, and Wayne Ivey in Brevard.
So you don't want to be on their
No.
No.
Kid Rock had a meltdown apparently and stormed off stage because the audience wasn't clapping along to his performance. Okay, the 54-year-old controversial musician made a surprise appearance at a national bar and music venue owned by John Bon Jovi.
Yes, I know exactly what
when Rock took the stage, he was met with applause, but about a minute into a rendition of Creedence Clearwater Revival's 1969 hit Proud Mary, alongside a female vocalist, Rock began to clap his hands together, encouraged the crowd to do the same, but not many people followed along, which prompted him to blurt out into the mic, if you ain't gonna clap, we ain't gonna sing. That's how it's gonna work. Before the music picked back up again, Rock once again began clapping his hands, but people did not follow. The clapping died down, at which point he stopped and left the show.
I feel for you, Rocky. You know what? He went through a time, obviously, with this past election. He was a big proponent. Maybe he thought, like, okay, every crowd that I've been going to, people have been getting into this.
Maybe.
I'm not saying this is a political thing.
Right.
But when you're met up with, like, wait, this is different than every other crowd I've ever had. You still should not walk off stage.
No, I think sometimes people just don't get into the groove.
I don't like doing it.
Yeah, me neither.
We love it when you stick around, so no need to clap at all.
KSA Entertainment is dedicated to uplifting the communities we serve. Through KSA Cares, we're bringing awareness to the causes that matter most, supporting those who work tirelessly to make a difference. From honoring veterans to championing environmental responsibility, KSA Cares is committed to inspiring positive change. At KSA Entertainment, we're here for the stories that bring us closer. Innovate with us. We can make a difference.
Welcome back to Daily Flash. I'm Andrea Jackson, along with Mitch English and Matt Doolittle. In today's roundtable, we are focusing on friendships and relationships. Watch this.
I had a friend once tell me that if I caught her boyfriend cheating on her and I was the one that told her about it, even though she knew it wasn't my fault, she would still hold it against me, and she wouldn't be able to ever forget that I was the one that told her it happened.
This is a good one. So if you saw your best friend's significant other cheating, would you tell your bestie? Joining us to talk about it is trauma expert Dr. Janie Lacey. Janie, welcome back to Daily Flash.
Hello, glad to be here.
All right, before we start, we've got some ground rules for the segment. Each one of us will get about 15 seconds to offer our perspective. So I'm going to start with Matt. Matt, what do you think about this?
I've been in this situation, and I did tell my best friend about this because it was pretty bad, and he was kind of a prominent figure in the community and everything, and it was just going to embarrass him more. So I did tell him. He was pretty mad at me for a little bit, but we got over it. But yeah, that was a tough decision to make. But yeah, I did it.
Mitch?
I think, getting mad at somebody for telling you the truth is
tells them you're a friend. However, I don't think I would do it because no matter what, his wife, if they get back together with it, they're going to hate me.
Exactly. Yes. This happened to a friend of mine. She told her husband, the husband of the woman who was cheating on him, what was happening, and they ended up excommunicating her from their friend group and stayed together. Dr. Janie, what is your take on this?
Well, I would tell my best friend, but I think the approach, it would be crucial, right? You really have to have concrete evidence and you have to be accurate because to your points that you may lose the friendship and they may stay together, but it has to come back to what's your personal value system. So if you have loyalty and you believe in honesty but also understand there's going to be potential denial or negative reactions from your friend and potential backlash. But I would say that you should tell your friend if you are a friend.
Okay, next question. If you caught your best friend cheating on their significant other, would you tell the significant other, especially if they're your friend too? Janie, I'll start with you.
Well, I think, Andrea, this situation requires a little bit of a different approach. I would probably first confront the cheating friend directly and privately, and I would probably express my concern about their behavior, about the relationship, and then give them an option to tell my other friend, or perhaps I will, because maintaining integrity in all of my relationships would be important.
Yeah. All right. We'll do the round table here. I mean, I'm with you, Dr. Janie. I just think that it's one of those situations I feel like you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. So sometimes it's just easier to stay out of it. But I think the guilt of knowing what's happening and not being able to say anything to someone would definitely haunt you. Mitch, I'll go to you next.
I would say, listen, first I would be like, why'd you put me in this position?
Yeah.
And then my second thing was, how do you want me to handle this? Because if he's my good friend, he's like, all right, look, you got to leave it up to him or her, whoever, for them to come clean.
Yeah.
And no matter what, you're not going to come out clean. You're going to get involved no matter what.
Yeah.
So I'd say, just go right to the person that's doing the cheating.
Maddie?
I go same thing with Mitch. Just go right to the person. Plus, I don't want to be. I don't want that hovering over me because, especially if I've got to go out in like a couple setting with them on a dinner, because I'm gonna tell my wife because her and I we tell each other everything. So I'm gonna tell her, so she's gonna know while we're sitting there, and then she's gonna be giving them the stink eye. So no, I would just flat out go up and tell them.
And this is a good one, too, because if you don't say something, then they're going to look at you like, why didn't you say anything to me? Dr. Janie, thank you so much for joining us. We want you to sound off on this. Leave us a comment on our Instagram or social media pages. And if it's good, we'll talk about it, share it on the show. dailyflashshow.com is our website. Dr. Janie Lacey, thank you so much for joining us. Stay with us. We've got more coming up on Daily Flash.
Harley-Davidson riders in the UAE received a free prostate screening with every 500-mile service. Cool, right? Well, it's a reminder that maintaining your health is just as important as maintaining your ride.
Prostate cancer is the second most common cancer in men. According to the statistics of 2024, out of 8 men, 1 of them diagnosed with prostate cancer.
As well as I take care of my bike, I wouldn't say I'm taking same care myself.
If you look at general checkup, I would say very few of us that will do this.
I don't do it often actually, and I need to.
I've never done prostate exam, never.
I never had a prostate check before.
Well, it is safe to say that they check up the bike more than the body for sure.
I check my bike approximately every 2-3 months.
This booklet is the Harley-Davidson booklet, which is cover the health of your bike. And actually, the first page of that is the midlife check. You can take it and come to Dr. Soleiman Al-Habib Clinic to be freely checked for prostate cancer screening.
Midlife check.
When you check this too.
I encourage men because people think that men are not susceptible to such diseases, which is not the case.
This midlife check program correlates directly into our brand because it's a maintenance program for the body and it's a maintenance program for your bike. Those yearly checks are vitally important. So if we can drive that behavior into our customers, they will get more miles from themselves. We'll keep them for longer in the brand and we'll all enjoy biking together.
I was surprised, and I went to the doctor. I said, "That's it? It's just a blood test. No more." You know what I'm talking about, right?
A new movie and global survey reveals common misconceptions when it comes to diabetes. Joining us now is Dr. Susan Guzman. She's a clinical psychologist. She's got the very latest. Hi, doctor.
Thanks so much for having me. Abbott's Above the Bias film, which you can see at abovebias.com, is about helping others see the world from the perspective of someone living with diabetes. Stigma for people living with diabetes is a real and often overlooked societal issue. From Abbott's new survey, we learned that nearly 70% of people with diabetes believe there's a stigma associated with the condition, and 75% have heard comments from other people about their eating, exercise, and other management choices. The shame and stigma surrounding diabetes often prevents people from seeking necessary care, and that's why Abbott's Above the Bias initiative is so important. Misconceptions and stereotypes about the disease contribute significantly to this reluctance. According to Abbott's survey, nearly 25% have avoided sharing their diagnosis with family or friends due to embarrassment or concern. And 40% of people with diabetes have skipped a health care appointment due to stigma. Diabetes stigma is real and harmful, but often goes unnoticed. It can manifest in various forms. People with diabetes might be unfairly blamed for the disease, with the assumptions that it resulted solely from choices around their eating behavior and other aspects of their health, ignoring genetics and other factors that are outside of a person's influence. It might be a quick judgment or a comment like, "Should you be eating that?" An uninformed opinion, or a punchline of a joke in a movie. By bringing awareness to the health impacts of diabetes misconceptions and biases, building empathy, and educating the larger community, we can help people living with diabetes get the support and care they need to manage their health. Start with yourself. We all have unconscious biases. Become aware of the common ways judgment and blame can show up in how we talk about and with people living with diabetes. Have the courage to call it out. Don't just ignore it. Be willing to speak up if you see or hear diabetes bias in your workplace or home or on social media. Be curious. Learn the real facts about diabetes. If you have people in your life who live with diabetes, ask what you can do to be more supportive. Abbott created a great website where you can watch the new film and learn more about the initiative. Just head to abovebias.com.
Thank you there. Well, are you looking for new ways to file your taxes and maximize your refunds? Aren't we all? Well, we've got some expert advice to help you get started. Check it out.
With tax time upon us, a new survey reveals that too many tax myths are making it seem more daunting to file than it needs to be.
TurboTax did a survey conducted by Talker Research where we surveyed 4,000 Americans. And in this survey, we found that all across generations, there are a lot of misconceptions about filing taxes. 20% of Gen Z believe that students don't need to file taxes, and 13% also believed that if you're paid in cash, you don't need to file taxes. And then we saw even more misconceptions with boomers, with 37% thinking you don't need to file taxes and you won't get a tax refund if you make under the IRS income threshold.
The truth, Green Lewis says, people earning under the IRS threshold and students are not required to file, but should file if they had federal taxes taken out or are eligible for certain refund credits since they may have a refund coming. What else the survey found?
47% of Americans polled hit the mark in knowing what the Earned Income Tax Credit is. It is a credit that you're given for earning income. So whether it's income from a W-2 job or being self-employed, it's also what's known as a refundable tax credit. And so what that means is people still get it even if they don't owe any taxes.
Working tax filers that fit the income requirements should make sure they claim this valuable credit worth up to $7,830 for a family with 3 kids. And in this day and age, with all the implications for filing, you should enlist help from the experts.
We saw from our survey that 77% of Americans want their refund earlier. TurboTax is giving customers their biggest refund possible. Whether you want to do your taxes yourself or have an expert do it for you, we are providing done-for-you tax experiences with unparalleled ease. And if you did not use TurboTax last tax season and you do your taxes yourself on our TurboTax mobile app, you can do your federal and state taxes for absolutely free, regardless of your tax complexity. And then we still have our TurboTax Free Edition, and that is for simple 1040 returns. And you can have earned income tax credit, child tax credit, student loans, just no additional schedules. And about 37% of tax filers qualify for that.
To get started, go to TurboTax.com.
Hey, before we head into the weekend, we always give you our picks for streaming for the weekend. This is where we tell you something you got to check out on your streaming services. First up, AJ, what do you got?
It's another cancer scam.
Oh.
God, these things are crazy. My pick for this weekend is the ABC news series Scamanda, streaming on Hulu.
And it went dark. She was a liar.
Why would somebody fake cancer?
Thousands of people threw money at her. I started donating $500 a month, $3,000, $20,000.
The community raised $100,000. Everyone's lives has been touched by cancer, and that was something Amanda tapped into.
She used the perfect combination, again, of social media, a blog post. She faked her cancer, pretended like she was getting all these treatments.
Sick,
Somehow
actually.
she
Wow.
would survive stage 4 cancer and come back, and just
would
long
still
enough
do
to
it.
make more money, and then she'd get stage 4 cancer again. And people just handed her money, hand over fist. She's since been, found guilty and is serving time in prison, but crazy.
We'll check that out.
Yeah.
That's horrible. Well, my pick this week is the new comedy from Will Ferrell and Reese Witherspoon on Amazon Prime that has 2 families fighting over one wedding venue with You're Cordially Invited.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go check us in.
I'm gonna go get us checked in. Oh no. We've double booked your weddings. What? Are you the wedding planner? You never even called this place?
I have social anxiety.
You get anxiety from dialing a phone?
I can do anything that doesn't require a phone call.
I love this, and also my friend Chris Naylor, shout out to him. He's Will Ferrell's stunt guy in the movie when he jumps off the boat. That's my buddy Chris. But it's actually like a go back to some of the. I think we're getting back more to the raunchy comedies and stuff.
Yeah.
So.
All right, my pick is out of this world, at least in our world. It's just visiting. It's Resident Alien. It's on Peacock.
The gray aliens. They are here to destroy the planet. I will save the Earth.
Do you really trust Harry's plan? What was his last plan again? To come here and kill everyone? How'd that work out? Everything's still here.
This is on Peacock. This is on Peacock Sci-Fi and believe it on Netflix. In season 3, Alan Tudyk's Harry the Alien is vowing to rid the world of a gray alien, a task a little bit more different now that, that alien is a new deputy in the town. You gotta check out it. It's in season 3. Really good. Really intense. Funny too. And that's it for our show. Y'all take care.
Be good, everybody. Head to our website, dailyflashshow.com.